This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Imagine you're sitting, I don't know, Russia, you're sitting in China, you're sitting in North Korea, or anywhere, Pakistan, and you're watching that press conference this morning. You're watching as Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Dan Raisin Kane, explain in detail how the U.S. carried out the mission to take out the Iranian nuclear facilities on Saturday night. Imagine you're any other country and you're watching that and you're saying, holy crap, we can't do that. Nobody can do that. Nobody has ever been able to do that. It is breathtaking how successful, how advanced, how complicated, how incredible this mission was. I'm all in. I am sitting here this morning watching this thinking, damn, it's good to be an American. Yes, one day after we did our eulogy for the city of New York, for our biggest city, who elected a communist, and we'll get to the latest on that. But one day later, I'm sitting there going, damn, we are the greatest country in the history of the world. We can do this. We set out, we had a goal, take out their nuclear capacity, and we did it. And we didn't lose an aircraft. They didn't fire a shot. We didn't lose anything except a lot of fuel heading there and refueling in midair. A 36-hour flight for these pilots of the B-2s and 123 other aircraft. And Donald Trump and the U.S. military did exactly what presidents for 30 years have been vowing to do. You cannot sit here, although CNN is trying, and say it was anything but an incredible success. And they're not messing around here. They're explaining in detail how it worked. They got video, and it is, I'm not sure how this works, but it is amazing. Raisin Kane, the Joint Chiefs Chairman, who is just so good at this, and he seems so serious and so smart. And the upgrade from Mark Milley, yes, White Rage Milley, that bloated fraud, to this man is like the greatest upgrade since, the Buffalo Bills went from Tyrod Taylor to Josh Allen. It is incredible. Night and day, you had the bloated fraud Milley telling you 4 years ago that it was a righteous strike when, first of all, I was telling you it was a success when we pulled out of Afghanistan and 13 service members lost their lives. And then a couple of days later, we shot a drone at a family that killed 10 innocent civilians, including 7 children. And Mark Milley stood up before, in the same spot Raisin Kane is in, and said it was a righteous strike. He was a liar and a political hack and a traitor who said he would warn China if Trump was going to make a move on China. That guy is out, and this guy is in, and he was just great this morning. Here's the video that just blows my mind. Watch this. Listen to this. I can describe it. You can watch it. And then consider that CNN is still telling you that this did not devastate the Iranian nuclear facility, and they could have a nuclear weapon in months or even days. We're going to get to CNN's just gaslighting like I've never seen before. Yes, they lied to us for years about the Russia hoax and the laptop and the fine people hoax, and they peddle in lies. But this one, is taking it to a whole new level. We'll tell you what CNN said, but let's watch as Raisin Kane explains exactly how this mission went down. Go ahead. He's got a video, and we're watching the explosion, and there's a tunnel into the facility. There's a massive explosion and fireball coming out of the entrance to the facility. Here's the bomb. This is an actual video of the mission, of the attack, of a bunker buster going right through the ground and into the mountain where the nuke facility was located.
Keep it going for a minute. You'll see inside the mission space.
This is inside the mission space. How we get this video, I'm not sure. A massive explosion.
Unlike a normal surface bomb, you won't see an impact crater because they're designed to deeply bury and then function. I know there's been a lot of questions about that. All 6 weapons at each vent at Fordo went exactly where they were intended to go. A bomb has 3 effects that causes damage: blast, fragmentation, and overpressure. In this case, the primary kill mechanism in the mission space was a mix of overpressure and blast, ripping through the open tunnels and destroying critical hardware. The majority of the damage we assessed based on our extensive modeling was a blast layer combined with the impulse extending from the shock. Imagine what this looks like 6 times over.
6 times over. We just saw one. And they dropped 6 of them into this mountainside where the Fordo facility was located. And they all worked. They all hit their target. They all exploded like the one we just saw. And CNN is telling you, hell, the New York Times, they're all telling you, there was one damage assessment that said it didn't destroy the nuclear facility and that it could be back within months. You just watched what you watch. It defies common sense. Forget the fact that it was politically motivated and some weasel, some snake in the Pentagon wants to hurt Trump and hurt Hegseth. Forget the motivation and just believe your eyes. They want you to believe that program, that place we just saw could be up and running in months. As Hegseth explained, you're going to need a big shovel to do an actual damage assessment because it's buried. They hit 4 entrances, ventilator shafts, and entrances to this tunnel with bunker busters, blew them up. Hell, we don't know how close they were before they blew the place up. And they expect us to believe that Iran is close now after that. Again, this is a whole new level of duplicity and gaslighting and lying from the media. I want to get to that CNN guy, but let's do the Iranian. This is an Iranian foreign minister spokesman, an actual Iranian official telling us how this went down. The Iranians are more honest than the mainstream media in this country. The Iranians know that you can't just look into the camera and say, nah, it was just a pinprick. We're good. We'll be up and running any day now. Here is the spokesman for the Iranian foreign minister. Go ahead.
Can you tell us, I'm going to insist on this a little bit more, what remains operational today as far as Iran's nuclear program?
I have nothing to add on this matter because it's a matter of technical issue. Our Atomic Energy Organization and other relevant agencies are working on that. But yes, our nuclear installations have been badly damaged. That's for sure, because it has come under repeated attacks by Israeli and American aggressors.
They've been badly damaged. I mean, the Ayatollah's out there declaring victory. Of course, it's what he does. But this guy says, yeah, they've been badly damaged because of Israel and the U.S. And then we have the U.S. media. Then we have CNN. You know, this is CNN. This is hard to believe this is real. Get the guy last night on with Lauren Coates. By the way, Lauren Coates, we'll get to her. She has a show every night on CNN. You might not know that. She claimed that they had 7 sources telling them that the bombing didn't work, that they did not destroy the nuclear facility. 7. You know what they call that in the journalism business? A lie. That is a flat out lie. They don't have 7 sources. They might have one deep state snake trying to hurt Hegseth, trying to hurt Trump. There's no way they have 7. I mean, people who saw that video, that's all you had to see, the video that Kane just showed. And then they tell you it didn't work. They're going their program's gonna be up and running in no time. But here's a guy, I think his name is Joe Cinconi, vice chair of the Center for International Policy, on CNN last night after we heard a lot of the details of this mission and how successful it was, after the Iranian foreign minister said they were badly damaged, after the UN atomic watchdog guy said it did incredible damage to the nuclear facilities. After all that, CNN is sticking to their guns. Here's their guy, their expert, their analyst telling you the attack on Fordow and the other two sites might speed up the nuclear program in Iran. Yes, this is real. Go ahead.
Look, there's a reason that no president has done this before. It isn't because they weren't as intelligent as Donald Trump or they lacked the courage. It's because they listened to their military and intelligence officials who warned them that military strikes could be ineffective and could have serious adverse consequences. It could actually speed up a country's drive to get the bomb, not slow it down. That's what we're seeing here. There's enough capability left in Iran for them, just with the 60% enriched uranium that survived and the centrifuges and the other secret underground sites that they have, that they could be racing right now to construct a bomb, which they could do, at least the material for the bomb, within a matter of days, and perhaps have a weapon within a few months.
That is just, that aired that aired on CNN last night. They could be days away from having a bomb. How does he know? He claims that their enriched uranium survived and their centrifuges survived. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. I watched the video. I heard Kane. I heard Hegseth. I don't believe that for a second. Hell, I heard from the Iranian guy. And they expect us to believe Iran is dead. How would that speed up their program? Could someone explain that to me? Maybe someone on the comment line, the chat line. How possibly could 14 bunker buster bombs speed up their program? That's what they told you last night if you were watching CNN. This is just amazing. They are doubling down on their claim that this mission was a failure. I watched MSNBC this morning. Robert Garcia, a California congressman, very upset that the U.S. was very successful in this mission, said the same thing. He said, quote, "This may speed up their nuclear program." And there, of course, was no follow-up. How would that work exactly, Congressman? How would all those explosions, all those bunker busters and Tomahawk missiles, how could that possibly speed up the program? These were the same people telling you a week ago, 2 weeks ago, that Iran was not close to having a bomb because they wanted to convince you that Trump shouldn't do this. Now that he did it, they want you to believe they're closer now after the attack. Here's the aforementioned Lauren Coates, who is doubling down and lying to you about this report that the mission didn't work, that it was a failure. Go ahead.
Just how effective were the American strikes on Iran's nuclear program? Well, tonight, CNN is learning a preliminary intelligence assessment suggests they did not destroy Iran's nuclear sites. This early report is from the Pentagon's Defense Intelligence Agency. CNN has spoken with 7 people briefed on it. One source says that the strike set Iran back, quote, maybe a few months, tops. 2 others tell us the country's stockpile of enriched uranium was also not destroyed. Another says the centrifuges are largely intact.
7 people, just making it up. I've seen that my whole adult life. That's what lots of these reporters do, these journalists do. They lie. They get one source, one person telling you that, and they say, oh, we've spoken to 7 people. Yeah, including that lunatic you're sitting next to on your panel, telling you that Iran is days away. Maybe we'll find out tomorrow that Hegseth and Kane and Trump are lying. Maybe we'll find out that they did indeed miss their target. I doubt it. I watched the video. I heard the briefing this morning, and it was amazing. It was so refreshing. Once again, the most transparent administration in American history, the most transparent people we've ever seen in the public space. Hegseth came out guns blazing. He is pissed at the media and even more pissed at the leaker. And Kane was remarkable. Kane explained how this worked, and it's long. I suggest you go watch the whole thing. I think the whole thing is 45 minutes long, not even 40 minutes long. General Kane said one guy has been watching the Fordo site for 15 years. One soldier sitting in front of his computer watching all the satellite images for 15 years. He explained that he watched them dig the site, build the site. He tracked every vehicle going in and out of the site for 15 years. That was his full-time job. So he knew exactly how far along they were. He knew. He watched from the beginning of the construction until the attack on Saturday night. And he talked about the attack on the U.S. base in Qatar. Amazing. I got chills. Hell, he said he was getting chills talking about it. They had thousands, like 10,000 soldiers at that base before the Iranians started lobbing missiles. By the way, they gave us a warning, so we cleared out. 44 soldiers stayed back in the base. They ranged in age from 21 to 28. The oldest guy left of the 44 was 28, the youngest 21. It was their job to man the Patriot missiles. They had 2-minute warning, and they were there. Obviously, they knew the bombs were coming, the missiles were coming, and they shot them down. All but one. I believe the one landed wherever in the desert. That's your American military. It is just incredibly impressive. But is this Kane explaining? He's so good. I'm so glad we have adults in charge. We don't have political operatives. We don't have Mark Milley saying he wants to understand white rage. We just have this guy who is so thorough and so detailed and so believable. Here he is. Be proud of your new chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Raisin Kane.
Folks had moved off the base to extend the security perimeter out away from what we assessed might be a target zone, except for a very few Army soldiers at Al Udeid. At that point, only 2 Patriot batteries remained on base. Roughly 44 American soldiers responsible for defending the entire base, to include CENTCOM's forward headquarters in the Middle East, an entire air base, and all the U.S. forces there. The oldest soldier was a 28-year-old captain. The youngest was a 21-year-old private who'd been in the military for less than 2 years. So let's put ourselves out there for a second. Imagine you're that young first lieutenant, you're 25 or 26 years old, and you've been assigned as the tactical director inside the command and control element. You, at that age, are the sole person responsible to defend this base. Listening next to you is your early warning operator, whose job is to notify you of imminent attack. There's 5 people inside a vehicle and 5 people outside of a vehicle around these, a total of, as I said, 44. By the way, you've sat in the Middle East for years, deployed over and over again, extended multiple times, always being prepared, but unsure of when that particular day will come that you must execute your mission and not fail at doing it. In this case, these Patriot crews were deployed from Korea and Japan as part of our U.S. forces there to ensure that we had the most capable missiles in the CENTCOM area of responsibility. As the day continues, you start to hear more and more chatter in the information space about a pending attack. And as the sun
Imagine that. You're sitting in that base. That's your job, knowing you're staying. You've been told the missiles are coming, and you have to stay and man the Patriot missile systems to shoot them down. And you're 21 years old, man. And it worked, and they succeeded. Everyone else got to go back to the base after you shot down those missiles. That was just one story he told. He talked about the families when they came back to Whiteman in Missouri after the mission was over. Now they were out cheering and waving flags, and everyone had tears in their eyes. This was, as far as I can tell, at this point, it's still early. an incredible success, a mind-blowing success. Again, no casualties, no planes getting shot down, no issues, and every single bomb they dropped hit their target, hit its target perfectly, and wiped out the Iranian nuclear facilities. Just amazing. All right, we got to get some more from this press conference. Pete Hegseth was on fire. Every time he appears in public, you think that's why Donald Trump picked him. He is an arm of he is right there with Trump. He's got the same attitude. He's got the same disdain for the media and certainly for the leakers. We'll get to that. He goes hard at his former colleague, Fox News Pentagon correspondent Jennifer Griffin. This is wild. We'll get to that and more. But first,
Excuse me.
if you've ever searched for your name or address on Google, it's shocking to find how many results have your personal information, and it's not by chance. Data brokers and people search sites, collect your personal information, your name, address, phone number, financial info, income, and hundreds of other records. They sell it and share it publicly without your consent. But Incogni is here to put an end to that. It hunts down these unethical sites and gets your info removed from the places that expose your private information. You don't have to email anyone, fill out forms, or jump through hoops. They handle the entire process for you. Incogni is also continually monitoring if your data is put back into these databases, requesting repeated removals. This way, it keeps them off there forever. So you get fewer spam calls, spam emails, and you get more peace of mind. And best of all, you can cancel anytime, and they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can get it completely risk-free. Right now, you get 60% off an annual plan by going to incogni.com and use code word Callahan. That's incogni, incogni.com/Callahan, and use the code word Callahan at checkout. You get 60% off and protect your data for an entire year. We're going to get to the new commie mayor of New York City, and we'll get to Jake Tapper, too. God, Jake Tapper is just such an embarrassment. But back to this press conference, 8 a.m. at the Pentagon, which I think Hegseth does just to annoy the media. I'm sure most of these media people normally, don't get out of bed till 10, but they have to be there bright and early for this briefing. And boy, were these guys ready. Hegseth was ready for a fight, as usual. And he went right at it. Yes, he was asked about his comment that he congratulated the boys in the B-2. And they're still doing that, the boys in the B-2. And didn't you acknowledge the women? And he was just waiting for this. But they actually asked that question. We're done with that. That's what Mark Milley would talk about, or Biden, or Blinken, or any of those clowns would talk about diversity in the military. They're not going there. They're not playing along with your agenda. Is this when they ask about the boys comment? This is great. Go ahead.
Acknowledge the female pilots that also participated in this mission. The early messages that you sent out only congratulated the boys.
So when I say something like our boys and bombers, see, this is the kind of thing the press does, right? Of course, the chairman mentioned a female bomber pilot. That's fantastic. She's fantastic. She's a hero. I want more female bomber pilots. I hope the men and women of our country sign up to do such brave and audacious things. But when you spin it as, because I say our boys and bombers as a common phrase, I'll keep saying things like that, whether they're men or women. I'm very proud of that female pilot, just like I'm very proud of those male pilots. And I don't care if it's a male or a female in that cockpit, and the American people don't care. But it's the obsession with race and gender in this department that's changed priorities. We don't do that anymore. We don't play your little games. Yes, right there.
That was the position right there. Standing there was Lloyd Austin, another. He and Milley. That's what we had under Joe Biden. Those two, and they were obsessed. He's right, with race and gender and climate change and all that crap. I don't think they could have done this. I think obviously we had the B-2s, we had the equipment, we had great soldiers. We did not have capable leadership. We did not have a focus in the right place for 4 years under Biden, and we do again. That's why recruiting numbers are off the charts, because people see him, hear him. They see Raising Cane, and they say, I want to be part of that. And they are proud of what they saw Saturday night. That was just the beginning for Pete Hegseth, who is just, he just is not going to stand for media who are trying to undermine the Trump administration. We know that. We know that's why they're there. We know they wake up in the morning and say, how can we do some damage to the Trump administration? How can we hurt Trump? How can we embarrass this administration? And he went off on the media and he singled out, he jumped all over his former Fox colleague, Jennifer Griffin, who's known as kind of a deep state operative. She gets fed stuff. If you want to know what they're thinking at the Pentagon inside the building, they will leak stuff to her. She does it. She reports it unquestionably. She's not as bad as Natasha Bertrand, but is this Hegseth going at Jennifer Griffin?
Yep.
Let's hear it.
It's about highly enriched uranium. Do you have certainty that all the highly enriched uranium was inside the Fordo Mountain, or some of it? Because there were satellite photos that showed more than a dozen trucks there 2 days in advance. Are you certain none of that highly enriched uranium was moved?
Of course, we're watching every single aspect. But Jennifer, you've been about the worst, the one who misrepresents the most intentionally.
I don't.
What the president says. I'm familiar.
Report about the ventilation shafts on Saturday night, and in fact, I was the first to describe the B-2 bombers, the refueling, the entire mission with great accuracy. So I take issue with that.
I appreciate you acknowledging that this was the
issues.
first the most successful mission based on operational security that this department has done since you've been here, and I appreciate that. So
Absolutely.
we're looking at all aspects of intelligence and making sure we have a sense of what was where.
That was pretty. That was good. And all the Fox News people are defending her. She's the ultimate professional. But Hegseth knows that she's always working with leakers to make Trump look bad. And boy, does he go after the leakers. I don't even understand why you would risk not just your job, you're risking your freedom, leaking something to CNN to make Trump look bad. They're going after, FBI's investigating. And if they get this leaker, it's not going to be like the Biden administration, like when they leaked the Dobbs decision, they buried it, they covered it up. There was no arrest. I think there might be one this time. I think they're not messing around. I think they know who the leaker is. And I think they're going to come at him. We're going to find out. Maybe not. But I have confidence that they are so pissed about this leak. And it was so political. It was just designed to hurt Trump and hurt Hegseth and make them look bad and make it look like this wasn't a success. And if you're them, if you're Raising Cane and you have all this intelligence, all these videos, all this surveillance showing how successful it was, how devastating it was, and then you have somebody in your own Pentagon leaking out that wasn't quite the success they're making it out to be, I would stop at nothing to get this leaker. I'd be grabbing everybody's cell phones and putting them under oath and breaking out the lie detector and finding out who the leaker is and make an example of them. Here's Hegseth going off on the leaks.
Responsible. And folks in this room are privy to that information because of the proximity here in the Pentagon. It's an important responsibility. And time again, classified information is leaked or peddled for political purposes to try to make the president look bad. And what's really happening is you're undermining the success of incredible B-2 pilots and incredible F-35 pilots and incredible refuelers and incredible air defenders who accomplished their mission, set back a nuclear program in ways that other presidents would have dreamed. How about we celebrate that? How about we talk about how special America is, that we have these capabilities? I think it's too much to ask, unfortunately, for the fake news. So we're used to that. But we also have an opportunity to stand at the podium and read the truth of what's really happening. And the reality is, you want to call it destroyed, you want to call it defeated, you want to call it obliterated, choose your word. This was an historically successful attack, and we should celebrate it as Americans. And it gives us a chance to have peace, chance to have a deal, and an opportunity to prevent a nuclear Iran, which is something President Trump talked about for 20 years, and no other presidents had the courage to actually do.
Yeah, he's right. We should be celebrating it. Everybody, the Democrats, one Democrat, John Fetterman, as usual, celebrated this. The rest of them are like the clown from California, saying that it might speed up the Iranian nuclear program. They're just lying to you. He's right. We should be celebrating that. I was so impressed with what I saw this morning. This was a huge success. This was an extraordinary success, which is the words Biden used to describe the Afghan withdrawal when 13 service members were blown up. He called it an extraordinary success. He was lying. It was a failure. It was a disaster. This is not that. Hegseth and Kane are not Austin and Milley. These are warriors. These are soldiers. These are fighters. These are guys focused on the right thing. And Trump watched this press conference. Can you get Trump's truth this morning? And as I was watching, I'm saying Trump is loving this. Hegseth might be better than Trump at pushing back on the fake news. Here was Trump posting this morning. One of the greatest, most professional, and most confirming news conferences I have ever seen. The fake news should fire everyone involved in this witch hunt and apologize to our great warriors and everyone else. I knew he would love it. But you know what? CNN is now claiming, hey, we were just reporting that one intelligence assessment, which it was called a low confidence assessment. It was wrong. Hey, we were just reporting it. That's all. We're telling you what that guy said inside the Pentagon. But they don't treat it with the skepticism it deserves. If some political operative burrowed in the Pentagon is feeding you something to make Trump look bad, you can report it, but you're supposed to report it with due skepticism. You're supposed to say, gee, this doesn't seem to line up with the other assessments. It sure doesn't line up with the video that Kane just showed us. It sure doesn't jibe with the assessment from Iran's own foreign minister. So you don't just take it and treat it like it's real and true and correct because it makes Trump look bad. That's not how it works. Yes, here is the fakest of the fake news people, fake Jake Tapper, an inveterate liar and a fraud who made a lot of money, I assume, writing a book about the cover-up of Biden's cognitive decline, which he participated in. Yes, this is fake news Jake Tapper, the one who said it was just a stutter when Joe Biden was stumbling and bubbling around the stage and telling you, cheap fakes and deep fakes when we would show you every day Joe Biden's decline, Joe Biden's condition. He was part of the cover-up, a big part of the cover-up, and then he wrote a book and cashed in. Here he's explaining with a straight face, looking into the camera and telling you what their job is at CNN, what their job is as journalists. It's hard to believe. Once again, this is real. Go ahead.
Asking questions is literally our job, demanding facts and answers instead of just taking a president's word for it.
Oh, God, that's incredible. Instead of just taking a president's word for it, our job is to ask questions of the president, of the administration. This is a guy who never asked if Joe Biden was actually functioning as our commander in chief. That was there a cover-up? Were they lying about Biden's condition? He didn't ask. He didn't push back. He was there to help. He was there to work with the Biden team to cover up the condition of the president. What a fraud. His job is to ask questions. Just if there's a Republican president, if there's one of us, if it's one of our guys, we participate in the cover-up. We will peddle the lies, which is what he did for 4 years. And now he's defending their position because they reported that the bombing was a failure, which is absolutely absurd. I mean, again, they peddle a lot of fake news, a lot of lies, Biden's condition and fake, suckers and losers and you name it, the Russia hoax, the laptop. This one is just the most embarrassing. It really is to come out last night and say that it didn't work and they're days away from a nuclear weapon after what we just saw. Truly incredible. But all right, we got to get to the commie mayor of New York City. Yes, it's going to happen. A Muslim socialist, a Muslim communist. This guy's a communist. Zoran Mamdani the Democrats, we're all watching closely. What would they do after Mamdani defeated Andrew Cuomo in the primary on Tuesday? Would they distance themselves from this extremist, from this radical, from this anti-American zealot, or would they line up behind him? We have an answer. We'll get to that. But first.
Excuse me.
If you're still tossing and turning all night and feeling edgy during the day, let me tell you about CBD from CB Distillery. Millions have turned to CBD for relief because it works. In fact, over 90% of customers report better sleep with CBD. And it's not just sleep. CB Distillery offers targeted formulations for just about everything: sleep, stress, mood and focus, pain after exercise. That's a big one for me. They even have CBD for pets, and it's all made with the highest quality clean ingredients. No fillers, just premium CBD. I use the stick for my shoulder, works, and of course, the gummies help me sleep. They do indeed work. And with over 2 million satisfied customers and 100% money-back guarantee, CB Distillery is the source to trust. If you're struggling with sleep, stress, or other health concerns and haven't found relief, make the change, like millions have, to CBD from CB Distillery. And for a limited time, you can save 25% off your entire purchase. Visit CB Distillery and use promo code Callahan. That's cbdistillery.com, promo code Callahan, cbdistillery.com. You know, nothing wakes you up like losing a loved one. I know, I've been there a little too often recently. You think, what about me? You do a lot of soul searching and you wonder, will my family be prepared financially if something were to happen to me? The last thing you want is your family to worry about how they're going to pay the bills. With life insurance from Ethos, your family is protected. I know it's not a pleasant thought, but you know what's worse? Wondering, will my family be able to stay in the house? Will my kids be able to go to college? Will my wife be able to pay the bills? Life insurance from Ethos gives you peace of mind. I know it did for me. It's one big bucket list thing you get to cross off. I know traditional life insurance can be complicated, but Ethos isn't. Ethos makes it easy. So protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/Newsmax. That's ethos.com/Newsmax. New York is our biggest city, our most important city. It's the economic engine that drives the country, it's the most important city in the world, really. It's been run by Democrats before. It's been run by some Republicans, including Rudy Giuliani, and I guess Michael Bloomberg, whatever he is. He was not really a Republican, but he was sane. You know, he wasn't even Eric Adams, a Democrat, until they kicked him out for cooperating or even talking to Donald Trump. And now we're going to have a whole new experiment in New York City. We're going to see how it works with a Muslim Marxist, a fanatic by any definition, a zealot, an extremist, a man who hates this country, who wants to destroy this country. It's going to be like London, like many cities in England. We're going to see a guy who's going to try to implement the most radical policies we've ever seen. We've gone down the list, God knows. He wants the city to own the grocery stores. He wants, free buses. He wants to defund the police. That's a big one. No cash bail. Everything he has in mind will lead to the deterioration of our most important city. Crime will get worse, poverty, you name it, homelessness, chaos. He wants to spend a lot of money on sex changes for kids, and he wants to raise taxes, of course. It's just going to be devastating if indeed he wins the general election. Eric Adams is our only hope, I think. I like Curtis Sliwa, but he's a Republican. I don't think he has a chance. Everyone else has to drop out. Support Eric Adams as an independent. Hard to believe, but he's our last best hope. So this is Mamdani's tweet. This is amazing. The next mayor of New York City. This was during the campaign. This is recent. This is some, tweet from when he was a kid and he was in college or up at Bowdoin, learning to hate America. The next mayor of New York City, Zoran Kwame Mamdani, writes, when Governor Cuomo refuses to tax the rich, he's refusing to let workers enjoy the wealth they created. When he says low taxes foster a business-friendly environment, he means an environment when it's it's easy for bosses to steal from workers. Taxation isn't theft. Capitalism is. He's against capitalism. The next mayor of New York City, which is the epicenter of capitalism in this country and in this world. It's truly stunning, shocking, depressing, infuriating. This guy is dangerous. I know he smiles and he's articulate and he's smart and he's slick. This is frightening. And we were wondering yesterday, would they line up behind him? Yes, the answer is yes. One Democrat after another, including Chuck Schumer, the Jewish senator from New York City, is supporting the man who chanted globalize the Intifada, who marched in pro-Hamas rallies, who didn't acknowledge the existence of Israel, who didn't blame Hamas for October 7th. That guy has the support of the Senate Minority Leader, the most powerful Democrat in D.C., Chuck Schumer. Amazing. These people will sell their souls for the party. Democrats are just just submissive and obedient. They won't step out of line, except one, of course. John Fetterman called the result of the primary Tuesday as Christmas in July for the GOP. He didn't quite check the calendar. It was June, but you get the point. He knows this is a gift to the GOP. People are going to look at this and say the Democrats have lost their mind. Here's the list, just partial list. Ilhan Omar, of course, Kathy Hochul, the governor, supporting this nut. Bernie Sanders, Hakeem Jeffries, the House, maybe the House Speaker in 2026, the most powerful Democrat in Congress, in the House, is supporting a man who, what else? Wants to defund the police. Oh, I said that. Wants to abolish ICE, is vowing to fight, to battle ICE. This is a guy who tried to physically assault Tom Homan in New York City. It was a stunt. The cops were holding him back from attacking Homan. That's the guy who's going to be mayor of New York City. A man who thinks taxation isn't theft, capitalism is theft. A man who's vowing to increase prosecutions for hate crimes. That is scary in and of itself. Hate speech, kind of like they do in London. They're going to be monitoring social media posts and looking for Islamophobia and knocking on your door. There's nothing good to say about him. Nothing. It is depressing, to say the least, that this is the next, most likely, I think Polymarket has it at 75%, most likely the next mayor of New York City. Here he is talking about I was going to spend millions in taxpayer money, on sex change surgeries for kids. Talk about going against the trend here, that we're banning this across the country. And now you have a mayor who wants to double down on mutilating children. Go ahead.
And one of the things that we've said beyond saying that we're going to make a sanctuary city for LGBTQIA+ workers, beyond saying that we're going to establish an office of LGBTQIA+ affairs, is also that we're going to provide $65 million of funding for gender-affirming care, the same amount of funding that the federal government threatened to pull out from local providers for that kind of work. And in this moment,
$65 million for gender-affirming care. Just like the founding fathers intended. Tax hardworking people and spend their money on sex change surgeries for kids. Yeah, good plan. And make everything free. Here's a scene in Times Square. Get ready. You're going to see a lot of this. Just hundreds or thousands of Muslims doing their prayers, kneeling over on their prayer rugs in Times Square. Looks like London. It's going to be New York. It's going to get worse. It is scary. This is all part of a big plan. I mean, consider the contradiction. A devout Muslim, and he's vowing to increase the gender-affirming care. You think a lot of devout Muslims in their heart support the trans community? Of course not. But he's pandering to all the groups out there, and it worked. And I think it's going to be fascinating to watch if he's mayor and he's providing sanctuary for lots of illegal aliens, which he's vowing to do, and protecting gang members and killers and drug dealers. Well, Tom Homan was asked about this. The great Tom Homan was asked, what are you going to do? This guy says he's going to stand guard and not let ICE do their jobs. Here's Homan responding.
Mayor candidate. He hasn't won yet, but he won the Democratic primary, Zorain Mamdani. So he's saying, this is incredible. He's vowed to kick the, quote, fascist ICE out of New York City. Okay? So how do you intend to deal with that? Because I would guess there are going to be a lot of criminals and Iranian cells and whatnot in New York City. The job's not done there. What do you say to this guy?
Good luck with that. Federal law trumps him every day, every hour, every minute. We're going to be in New York City. Matter of fact, because it's a sanctuary city, President Trump made it clear a week and a half ago. We're going to double down and triple down on sanctuary cities. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the county jail, one agent arresting one bad guy, they release him in the streets like New York does every day. We got to send a whole team to look for this guy. And not only that, we're going to send additional teams to look for all the people they arrest. We're going to concentrate in sanctuary cities because we know they're releasing public safety threats and national security threats back to the street. So we know we got a problem there. So we don't have that problem in Florida where most sheriffs work for us. So we're going to double up and triple up on New York. And not only are we going to send more agents to the neighborhood, we're going to increase worksite enforcement tenfold. If we can't arrest them in the jail, you're going to force them in the neighborhood, then we'll find them in the neighborhood. If we can't find them in the neighborhood, we'll find them at the worksite. So game on. We're coming.
You had gangs operating in New York. We saw it. TDA, MS-13. We saw the crime, the robberies, muggings. We saw an illegal alien set a woman on fire on the subway. And then you had Trump. Trump wins and things, and Adams cooperates and things start improving. They closed down the Roosevelt Hotel, which was kind of the epicenter of all the insanity, where they gave hotel rooms and money and phones and everything to illegal alien gang members. And Trump, with the help of Adams, solved the problem to a large extent. And now you have a mayor who's not only against allowing ICE into the prisons, he's against prisons. He has said he wants to close prisons. He doesn't want to lock up criminals. That's how insane this guy is. And we can't blame, the black community on this or the Hispanic community for this. They didn't vote for him. He won Asians, which I assume includes, Pakistanis and other, Afghanis, and he won white people, rich white people. He won among college-educated white people, so they voted for this. And I'm tempted to say, screw New York, just put a fence around it and let them kill each other. But it's a shame. This city's too important. This is an amazing place, and he's going to destroy it. Do you have that video of the celebration at Mamdani's headquarters? It's amazing. You don't see, there's no diversity here. It's just a bunch of crazy young white liberals, mostly females. Look at this crowd. Do you see a single person of color? You see a single African American? Look at these clowns. All white people, all 20s and 30s, screaming, shouting, celebrating, because they will have a communist, a Marxist, who thinks capitalism is theft as their mayor. It's really amazing. These are just despicable people. They are the worst. They are just white liberals, particularly white liberal ladies, the most dangerous demographic. These are just awful people. All right, we got one more job for Tom Homan. I don't know if he's been to Cudahy, I don't know, California. This is the vice mayor of a city in California. Yes, an elected official in a city in California where ICE has been looking for illegal alien gang members, killers, murderers, rapists. And Cynthia Gonzalez, vice mayor, does a shout out to the gang members and implores them to show up and challenge, stop ICE. And I don't think she's been arrested yet, but I think she's on Tom Homan's short list. Listen to this lunatic.
Not for nothing, but I want to know where all the cholos are at in Los Angeles. 18th Street, Florencia. Where's the leadership at? because you guys are all about territory, and this is 18th Street and this is Torrance, and you guys tag everything up claiming hood. And now that your hood's being invaded by the biggest gang there is, there ain't a peep out of you. It's everyone else who's not about the gang life that's out there protesting and speaking up. We're out there like fighting our turf, protecting our turf, protecting our people. And like, where you at? Bien calladitos, todos los chulitos. I'm like, dude, they're running amok all up in on your streets and in your city. And peace. When the big gang guns come in, nothing but like quiet, and we're out here, the regular ones that have never been jumped in, out here calling things out, trying to organize people, trying to do the thing. So don't be trying to claim no block, no nothing if you're not showing up right now.
What the hell? I mean, she might have the Terry Moran excuse. She sounds like she may have had a cocktail or two, but it looks like daylight. It wasn't midnight. And she posted that. She said that into her phone and posted it, calling for the Cholos and the 18th Street gang or whatever to come out and stop ICE. It's like the movie Warriors, where they had that radio person who was giving the directions to the gangs for the big gang meeting. And she wants the Cholos to come out and fight with ICE. I just saw a report from Bill Maloogian saying that ICE has already paid a visit, or maybe the FBI, the feds have already paid a visit to Cynthia Gonzalez's home. I mean, isn't that a crime? If it's not, arrest her anyway and figure it out later. That is amazing. And that's where we're at with Democrats. You have elected Democrats hoping to join up with street gangs to stop federal agents from arresting illegal aliens. You're doing great, Democrats. Keep it up. Double down. Maybe there's your next mayor of Los Angeles or governor of California, Cynthia Gonzalez. They have lost their minds. All right, we got to leave it there. Can you show me one more time the video from Fordo, the video that Dan Raisin Kane showed of that ventilator shaft just explode? I want to do this. I want to see it one more time. I've seen it 4 or 5 times, but it's glorious. And I look at it and I say, what will they say today? What will CNN and MSNBC, what will the New York Times report today? Will they tell you this was a failure? As we go out, let's just watch one last time. Look at that. Now here's the bomb. Watch this if you're watching along. It's just the bunker buster right in to solid ground. No explosion, because the explosion comes 200 feet down. And there were 12 of those dropping on this site. And they are going to tell you Iran is days away. I can't believe the lengths they will go, the depths they will sink to stop Trump. Just amazing. But that'll do it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we'll do it again tomorrow.
Asking questions is literally our job. Demanding facts and answers instead of just taking a president's word for it.